Hi guys, for my poetry presentation, I am going to be talking about the last fifth grade of Emerson Elementary, written by Laura Chauvin, published by Wendy Lamb Books in 2016. Laura Chauvin was, or is, poet in the schools for the Maryland Arts Council. She has won the Syllabus Award for Poetry, and then her book, that I'm talking about today, the last fifth grade of Emerson Elementary, has won the Bank Street College of Education Best Children's Book of the Year, the NCTE 2017 Notable Verse Novel, and the Nerdy Book Club Award. It's her first novel that she has put out. She has another novel also written in verse coming out in 2018. So I love this book. It's a great example of how poetry can be used in sort of a novel setting, because I would say that this is a contemporary fiction, a middle grade novel. However, it's entirely written in verse and in using different kinds of poetry. This is just right at the beginning of the book. This page on the left that you see has all, 18 kids in this fifth grade class at Emerson Elementary. And the book is really cool because all 18 of those kids write poems for the book. So there are 18 different viewpoints throughout the entire story, which is just this class. The school is going to be shut down and consolidated into other schools in the area. And so these kids are, the last fifth grade that will be at Emerson Elementary. And so they decide to use poetry as a way to document this year in the school, to put into a time capsule to sort of honor the elementary school. So it goes through this school year of them kind of growing up and thinking about going into sixth grade, and also sort of some of the ideas that they have to maybe stop the elementary school from being shut down. It's a really, really cute story. Because there are so many different points of view, the author has this great way of keeping track of who's who. It has the date up at the top, so the poems are obviously from the beginning of the year to the end of the year. So you can track when it is by looking at the date. Then there's the title of the poem. In this case, it's my name, and then the author, so Sydney. But it also has this little picture of the kid, so that you can remember as you read poem to poem, you can remember what other poems they've written and what other points of view they've had as the novel goes on. This is one of my favorite aspects of the book, because there's so many kids, you get to see so many different points of view. I think that makes it really relatable for all kids. I think this would be a really good read aloud because of that. But this is a cool little 2-page poem. On the left, you have Gabby's poem in Spanish. She doesn't speak very good English or much English at all, so she writes her poetry in Spanish. And then on the right, you have Mark has helped her translate her poem into English. So that's really cool. A lot of the schools that I work in have a lot of kids who speak Spanish, and mostly Spanish. I work with a lot of ESL kids, and so this is a really cool aspect to the book for me. This is a really great concrete poem that Jason has written his self-portrait. You see his baseball cap and his face and the shirt and all of his clothes, but I love the little heart on the right there that bolds the letters that spell out Katie, someone he has a crush on throughout the book. This was one of my favorite poems. I have both pages in this picture because it's really cute that to just see the differing points of view in this. They've just had some sort of maturation day in their fifth grade classroom, and so Sydney has this long poem talking about it, and then Jason has this short poem. He says, "I'd rather dissect owl pellets, bird vomit filled with bones. I'd rather Mrs. Stifler called my mother on the phone. I'd rather hit my head in gym so I'd get a concussion. Anything to get me out of this disgusting discussion." I thought that was so funny and so realistic. The fifth graders do not want to talk about puberty, and I thought that was a really funny, really cute little poem. And then one of the coolest features of this book is at the very end, up here it says favorite forms from room 5H. It just has every single kind of poem that Laura Chauvin uses in this novel. She's got, like we just saw, the concrete poem. She has all of these, like epistolary poem, all these different forms, and examples of what the poem is, suggestions on how maybe a fifth grader would write that kind of poem, and then it has model poems, so it shows you the page number that you could find a poem like it. So I think this is a really, really awesome way to help kids get excited not only about reading poetry, but about writing it, like the kids in this fifth grade class do. So yeah, I really liked the last fifth grade of Emerson Elementary. I think it does a really good job of being accessible to kids. It's relatable because of the broad use of types of poetry. You have like the rhythm and the meter that you look for in children's poetry, but you also sometimes have things that are really heavy on imagery or more on the storytelling or more visual, like the concrete poems. And it's something that I think would make a really good read aloud in a classroom, would really help in poetry units, and just would really help kids get excited about poetry. Thanks, guys.